They did them man dirty.
That's why I'm
They
laughing.
did them so dirty.
Because the way they're gassing. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Panel and Frames. I'm joined by Phil and Lewis, the usual suspects. This week we're going to be talking about Jujutsu Kaisen 210 and Chainsaw Man 118. So we're going to start with Chainsaw Man 118, saying goodbye. Obviously, we've finally come out of the, I guess, what was it? The aquarium arc.
Yeah, the aquarium arc. That's what we're calling it. The aquarium arc.
Eternity arc, where
Yeah,
we just stood there for ages. So obviously, Denji and Asa finally got out of the aquarium. Asa and the war devil showing their power, one shot in the Eternity Devil, with a beautiful manga panel.
Yeah.
So and then the last chapter 117 ended on such a cliffhanger, and where Asa and the war devil basically were going to make Denji into a spinal sword, but we don't know what happened. So here we are at the Lewis. Do you want to go first? Because I think
Because sounds like someone was correcting
I think I must have had some insight into what was going to happen in the next chapter because I think I called it.
Called it completely right, man.
You did call it.
Hand on the head. Of course he was going to do that. He's an awkward guy, you know. He's just touching him. He doesn't know what to do. So he just...
And then he just left, you know.
I know. And he said Asa spinal sword as well when he did it. And I was like, bro, do you like, the guy is weird, man. In terms of the chapter itself, obviously, there's quite a bit of comedy. Lewis did predict it. And yeah, I mean, the chapter didn't have much throughout the middle, but it ended when he said, oh, you got to follow the rules or you could die. So
yeah, that had me, I was thinking, what's going on there?
I think it could be either something to do with the Control Devil, because obviously the new host of Control Devil's there. So it could be something to do with her ability that only works, that only Denji allowed to enter the space or something. Or it could be he's got some pets or something weird. But with Denji, it's going to be something weird. You know what I mean? Something comedic, something weird.
You sure though? I'm not. I don't know. I don't know.
But what were your thoughts on
I
chapter?
think it must be to do with the Control Devil, though.
That's what I'm thinking as well. That's what I'm thinking. I feel like the Control Devil's got something going on there with Denji and people going to the house and the rules. That's why he made it such a point. Obviously, like the awkwardness with Denji anyway. Oh, you're coming to my house. There's a day at my house. Blah blah blah. Him and women have a very interesting relationship in this story. So I can understand that awkwardness, but to come from a fear kind of aspect where like people might die, that's a bit different for Denji.
That's interesting because you know what? Like Denji would do anything for chicks, innit? So the way he was shook this time was like, oh no, this must be serious. Must be serious. Because normally he'd be like, come to my yard, standard.
For Netflix and chill, you know?
He's like, what? You don't want me to pay for anything. It's cheap. You're on a cheap date. Standard, because he's on that cheapness, innit? So yeah, you're right. This must be something serious is gonna go down, but yeah. Lewis,
it could be to do with the Devil Hunters as well, but just for the fact that maybe he's been set. He gets put into that. He got put in that house originally to like, oh, this is where you can stay, blah blah blah. And now he's looking after the Control Devil. There must be some sort of requirements. You've got to live this way. So maybe he's going to bring her over, and he has to be quiet with her there because if she makes too much noise, then they're going to come in and just take her out. I don't know, man. But I just feel like I'm interested to see, like you said, why is he scared?
Like so scared. And also, do the Devil Hunters, the Devil Associate, do they know he's got a Control Devil?
They must do.
Because I think only that old man knows. You know the one who trained him in power. I think only he knows.
Also, Haruka, I'm interested to see because he's always listening.
I know.
I know he's been put there to like keep an eye on it and Denji, but it's like we've still not seen anything from him other than that, you know.
Imagine he's a devil as well.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
But you know,
that would be a good plot point.
You know what's interesting though, when the War Devil was like when they were like, oh, isn't the Famine Devil your sister or whatever, and she's like, oh, you don't mess with her, she's crazy. And obviously, we saw the War Devil one shot at the Eternity Devil, so now it makes me think how strong or how mad is this famine devil? You know what I mean? So that's
Mhm.
gonna be really interesting to see when she finally gets involved properly in this arc, innit? But
Do you
yeah,
think that they'll fight each other?
I don't know. Chainsaw Man does stuff in weird ways, so I don't know, man.
I hear that. I hear
There
that.
could be some
But you
screaming
know
match.
what, right? That
Mm,
guy at the end that was listening to Denji and Asa talk. I
mm.
feel like he's gonna die.
You think so?
You
I think he's
think?
gonna die. I
Mm,
think he's done out here, yo. I think his dance is finished. He's gone.
mm,
I think he's gonna die soon because he's too into their business. And then
mm.
he's just gonna become. I
Yeah,
feel like he's
yeah.
just gonna become collateral damage when things start popping off, and
I
he can't
think
move fast enough, and he gets finished out here.
I think somehow he's gonna get made into a weapon, or something's gonna. I don't reckon he'll die, but I think something's gonna happen with one of these, or the famine devil's gonna use him for something.
Mm.
Could be a
If
shout, but
if
he's
he's
out
not
of
dead,
here. He's out of here in the next. I'm saying that he's done in the next two chapters. He's
well,
done.
this is it. One thing about Chainsaw Man as well is like they're not afraid to kill off characters, so
That's
he could
true. They've killed off some
Exactly.
popular characters as well.
exactly like Power's not back. You know, a lot of characters haven't come
Yeah.
back yet. So but in terms of this chapter, I do think though there was a lot of there's a lot of subtle revelations in the chapter. It wasn't like Chainsaw Man is good, the right amount of pacing that we need at the moment, and every character's
Yeah.
getting a nice kind of like screen time, so it's not too underwhelming like the Eternity arc, which but it's not too overwhelming like some of the other arcs where it's been like. I mean, I wouldn't say overwhelming, but would it like they haven't given us like bang, 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 which was sick.
Yeah.
But it's just the right amount, I guess. I mean,
It's
do you guys want to
building.
share your final thoughts and scores?
It's cool with me. Is This chapter was good,
Mm,
even though like I don't want to say. Well, I don't even don't want to say like major stuff didn't really happen. Yeah,
mm,
but just the storytelling aspect of it made made this chapter a lot better.
mm.
Yeah, like if like our annoyance with the flipping with the other like eternity arc we want to say, right? Yeah,
The
the
aquarium.
eternity aquarium arc, yeah. There was nothing really going on there, right?
Mm, mm,
But this
mm,
chapter, even though there's nothing going on, there's still character development,
mm.
um, plot points, plot points which we can like pull from and say, okay, where's the story going? What's going on here? There's like end with a cliffhanger, ended with a cliffhanger, my bad. Right. So it's good. It's good in my opinion. So I would say if I have to score it, I'll give it eight. I'll
Okay.
give it eight. I'll give it eight.
Lewis.
Yeah, I enjoyed this chapter. I feel like it gave you enough information for the character building. It's like you're seeing how much they're starting to love Denji, even though they're trying to deny it now. Because it obviously didn't the what's it called? The spinal cord sword didn't work.
Yeah.
And I like seeing Denji growing. Like
Mm,
he's really not falling head over heels. He's thinking more. So he
Mm-hmm.
obviously knows that there's going to be issues at home, and he's wary about that. Whereas before he might have just been thinking about grabbing some breasts and having a
Yeah.
good time.
Come come and have my toast and jelly and jam and all of that
Yeah,
stuff sandwich.
exactly.
it has really become like a coming of age story of Denji in some because obviously like I feel like sorry Lewis, I'll comment sorry Lewis. I just feel
That's all
like
right.
yeah, that is the first part of it was like quite a shonen, you know what I mean? Like loads of action, loads of beefing. And this one just feels it's a
Mm-hmm.
lot more slice of life, coming of age, you know, and even the supporting cast, they're not really
Mm-hmm.
doing many like I guess shonen stuff like Merkin Man and then like Killing Devils like they did in the first season.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
even like all the fight scenes have been like put to one or two panels. That's it. So I think there's a massive emphasis on character development now, which is interesting. And
I'm
as long
liking
as
it.
it's slow burner, it's still it's cool. It's cool to read, like you're saying. But sorry, Lewis, sorry to interrupt.
But that's saying it makes me feel like there could be some longevity on certain of these characters for the fact
Mm,
that they are building so much character development with them.
mm,
I know they're quick to kill people, but I feel like the characters in the arcs before already had their development when we got introduced to them to an extent. I know they had a little bit and you got to see their past or whatnot, but this is like you're seeing everyone from fresh growing. So, but I think overall this chapter, I'll give it an 8. I enjoyed it and I feel like I'm excited to see why he shook.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you guys. I give it 8 as well because very like I said, it's a slow burner, but it's not boring, if you know what I mean. It's there's loads of there's no major reveals, but there's loads of subtle reveals that are enough, like you said, Phil, that we can pull out and discuss, and they are like good enough to kind of like have like quite long talking points about them. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where it goes. I mean, yeah, obviously he wasn't action oriented, but I guess Chainsaw Man, like I was saying earlier, it's kind of moved away from that action orientated like the first part was, and it's more just like slice of life, a bit mellow, and a bit more about Denji rather than the world around him and what's going around the world. You know, it's about Denji now, Chainsaw Man, how he's dealing with like the events of the stuff, and I feel like it'd be interesting to see where his head is, I guess, with this Control Devil and how that plays into and
are you scoring it though, Eugene?
Oh no, one second. Well, I scored an 8. I said 8. I said
cool.
Yeah. No, I
missed that bit.
was gonna say it'd be interesting to see as well if Asa gets jealous of this Control Devil, and then they start a little beef. Even though the Control Devil probably.
Do you think the Control Devil's gonna be jealous of Asha though?
I think
because she's in control. She likes to be in control.
Exactly. Well, we have to find out.
That might be part of the rules.
Yeah. Lewis
might be
predicting stuff again, Chainsaw Man. But yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see where it does go, and like it's just it's not the best manga at the moment, but it's doing its job, and I think it's going to lead to something quite good.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're going to talk about Jujutsu Kaisen 210, Offerings to the Unknown Part 2. Obviously, last chapter we saw the military come to hunt down the Jujutsu sorcerers to basically they've been tricked by Kenjaku to fight them, and they'll turn into energy to fill the colonies, which will help him merge with Tengen, who we still don't know whether he's dead or alive, but you know.
I'm still saying he's dead, but anyway.
I mean, you can't merge with a dead body, but so
might just need the vessel, but anyway, it is what it is.
So in this chapter, we learn a bit more about what his plan is, which is quite interesting because they've not really revealed what he actually wants, and now we know that he basically wants there's 2 energy sources basically: the sorcerers, and he's going to use the military as a backup energy source. So you know, last week we were saying like, oh, wouldn't it be interesting to see how the military deal with the sorcerers? Bro, it's not funny, but look how they got mad. My man's on a fishing rod. The cursed spirits have murked them.
It's mad. It's mad. Like I was going to bring that up as well in terms of even though like they got finished, right? But I wanted to see more like back and forth. I wanted to see more action.
I know.
Yeah. So, but it is what it is, isn't it? Like they're fighting against people that they have no business fighting against. So.
Yeah, but I just feel like the build up, and you know, like Lewis, obviously, we're talking about the other soldier. You know, you mentioned last week that she's gonna be like, she still could be like a front runner in this arc. I feel like they've just been murked way too easily, man. And obviously, it's interesting to see the power dynamic between sorcery and the real world, I guess.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Lewis, do you wanna share your thoughts?
No, yeah, I must admit I was a bit disappointed because I did want to see some fighting between the army and the Jujutsu guys, because I feel like that could have been a good opportunity to look into what that would be like fighting against people with powers and people with guns, you know. But so I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit confused with this chapter. I don't know. I had to read it a couple times just to kind of get my bearings. Especially the way it opened as well. I was like, okay. And then it took a while for you to go, okay, it's Hannah that they're talking about at the beginning. You know, it's like this chapter was a real crossroad. It's like you got Yuji and Hannah. They're almost kind of getting to a point where they might not like each other when they need each other. So it's I don't know.
I know.
Like, them-
I'm like of all of this though. I'm more interested in like how Roman Sukuna, right, is involved with it. Because remember she was saying that she needs to kill him,
Mm.
right? I wanna know how he's gonna play into it. That's where my intrigue really lies with
Mm.
this
I
book.
know. But the thing with Sukuna as well, yeah. You know, like when he first got introduced, I thought it was gonna be like this whole, like Kurama and Naruto, that whole dynamic
Hmm.
all
Yeah,
the
yeah,
time.
yeah,
And then it
yeah.
kind of was at the start, kind of, but
But
then
you
it's
don't
just
really see man no more, man.
doesn't do anything. He hasn't
Yeah,
appeared.
you don't really
Mm.
see man. So,
So it's just it's interesting because yeah, we're not really getting it. And Sukuna's obviously sick in it, you know what I mean? Like
man,
the
she
whole
is
fingers
very
thing.
strong.
Exactly. And then so I don't know, even the dynamic between Yuji and Sukuna, yeah, we don't know what that dynamic is anymore. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? We don't know how when he possesses his body, is that still a thing, or he can harness it. No one knows. The last two panels where Yuji said, "Oh, I thought she was going to replace the girl from the first arc, who we don't know if she's
Mm.
dead or alive."
Yeah,
And then when he says that, "Oh, I don't know how to replace her," that's kind of like, is she dead? Because he's randomly just brought up like she's a memory,
yeah,
like
This is what
yeah,
it sounded like
yeah.
to me.
It was kind of awkward when I
mm,
when I read that as well. So I
Mm.
didn't. I don't even know how I feel about it. I'm like, is she dead? Is she not dead? Do I keep it in my mind that she's dead, or do I just ignore it? And I don't know. I don't know.
because and I just feel like they've never mentioned her like at all in any of this, not even any conversation. And just to bring her up now in this emotional kind of like scene,
Hmm.
yeah, just like you said, it is a bit it's awkward, isn't it? Like, and because we
Mm.
left when we last saw her, she had one eye. She had eye, when she got what's his face, my man from the bad guy from the last arc,
Yeah,
we touched her, and yeah, her eye exploded, and she's just got like a big hole in her face. So God, only God knows,
she might
man.
be finished. She might
Yeah.
be finished, but hey, is we don't know.
This chapter was great though. I won't lie. It was like the terror of when you saw the soldiers after they got murked.
Yo, when on the fishing hook thing,
That
I had to
was
go back. I was like, wait,
Yeah,
what is
yeah.
that? Is that a thingy? Is that a soldier on the fishing hook? Yeah, that was one of the better drawn panels
yeah.
in the
The panels,
in
yeah,
the
panels
chapter.
are fantastic. What's his name? Takaba at the end, stealing the show with
Yeah, yeah. I got the
on the
last
panel.
panel.
I got the last panel.
What breaking the fourth wall? It's like he cracks dead jokes, and I think that this was
Hmm.
funny the way he just happened out of
Yeah,
nowhere.
that one
Nowhere.
landed as well.
Yeah,
It did.
yeah.
It definitely did.
What do you think with going back to Tengen, yeah?
Mm.
Tegan. When it says the merger with Populace, what is that?
I don't know, man. We don't
Yeah,
know.
And
just
they're
get lost with
saying
you, man.
that people could turn into meatballs if they don't sort it out.
Meatball Tengen. I know. I don't know. I like literally. We
He's
don't know.
alive. He's
We know what
alive. He's alive.
Tengen is, but we don't know what Tengen is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm.
So we don't know. Like only thing we've seen of him is like obviously he's in a star prism. We know about like the vessels. We know about that, but we don't know actually
Mm.
what is Tengen. So what is Tengen? Like what is his
Hmm.
powers? What we don't know any of that. So it's interesting how
Hmm.
this all of this is just a merger of Tengen, and we just yeah I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see like what abilities is
Bro,
can
Eugene, this
get.
guy's like the Soul King, man. Telling you, he's like the Soul King. The way they were hyping up the Soul King in Bleach and everything that they've done, everything, remember like the first bit of Bleach,
Yeah,
Aizen was doing a whole bunch of madness just so you
yeah.
could go and deal with the Soul King.
No,
Right? I
no,
feel like this is giving me them kind of vibes.
I
And
know.
I kinda feel like when it gets to the grand finale and we realize what Tengen is, we're gonna be like, really, all of this just for this?
You know what? You
That's
know
what
what?
it's giving me that vibe, bro. It's giving me that vibe. And I don't want it, but it
If they merge, yeah, and it's just like it's just dead, I'm gonna be like, bro. And then Sakuna comes and does, oh, okay, demand expansion over.
and
It
then
won't,
finishes.
it won't be like that though. But we'll see. But one thing I will say, like with this chapter though, the artwork was fantastic. You know, like the
Yeah,
Hannah's
definitely.
mother at the start. Oh, we just called it mother. We didn't know like that.
Yeah.
All the cursed
A
spirits have been
lot of
drawn.
detail, man.
Oh yeah, man. It's like, yeah, no, it just keeps getting better and better. And I just
And
found that
even the fishing rod bit, that was those few pages were really good, man.
felt the fear in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, big
Yeah,
time. Like a
Because
nightmare.
just a panel, it just literally one page, the next page, you just see some guy with hook up him, then it
Mm.
cuts. So you're like, what? This is what
yeah,
happened to the soldiers after all that hype in the last chapters. And you know what makes me laugh? You know, you think about like the American Army and all like the old American films, like in Platoon and like
yeah.
and they're always up for beef, like in Aliens when they're all up for beef. I just imagine them being like that in this situation as well, yeah. Being up for it,
100%.
yeah. And then
Yeah, definitely.
like, you know what I mean?
Then they go and get finished. Oh
But
man.
finished differently. Like not even funny, bro. You
Yeah.
know,
They did like the way it seems like they never even stood a chance. Like they stepped
Not a
in to
chance.
die. They
yeah.
stepped in and then they just died.
But
And
they were
it's
set
like,
up though. They were set up though from the
well,
beginning.
Kenjaku's a waste man because he's just a clever waste man because he's pitted them against each other. Like he just gassed them. Oh yeah, there's these
Yeah,
sorcerers.
because he sold them the dream, innit? Like
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
get some power, get this great power, and you can like be the obviously it's like oil. It's like when you know all these countries come and take all the oil. It was like that. Who can get there first?
But then they're going there and they're getting fished. They're being fish
Yeah.
food. They're bait for like other cursed spirits, man.
Yeah.
Bro. But,
Mad, bro.
do you want to show your final
They were
thoughts?
brought there to be food, innit? They were brought there to be food.
Well,
Really, at the end of
they're
the day.
literally alternative. They're backup battery, bro.
Yeah,
Basically,
Yeah.
yeah.
you know what I mean. Well, do you want to show your final thoughts, Lewis? What you thought on your score?
For me, because I had to read it a few times to really
Mm.
get a grip of it, I'll give it a 7
Mm.
because I really like all the drawing and everything like that, but I had to read it a few times to really get a grip of it because from going from the chapter before to oh 09, in my head I had painted a whole completely different story to where we would be in 210.
I hear that. I hear that.
I really thought it was going to be action packed, and then I
Yeah.
just got from that first page I got thrown, and then I was just trying to piece it all together to really make sense of it. But it's still I'm still a fan of this manga, so but I'll give it a 7 just because I was confused. But that just might be me.
I'll give it a 7.5. I'll give it a 7.5. Yeah, I get you where you're saying it was a little bit confusing, but I would give it just a little bit. No, yeah, I'll just give it that little bit extra because it never took me long to maybe understand what was going on, and I wouldn't put it any higher because I wanted to see more of like the action. At least a couple panels
Yeah.
of just the army man losing. That's it.
Even a
And I
flashback.
would,
Even a flashback.
yeah, even a quick little thing like when they were talking to the guy at the start.
Mm.
Like, oh yeah, we was fine and we had no chance or whatever. Just to
Mm.
describe that
Yeah.
the fight actually happened because we went from like the fight gonna start in the last chapter and then the fight being over in the next one. So it's like yeah, but I'll give it 7.5.
It's so funny, man.
I'll give it 7.5. But hey, they did them man dirty.
That's why I'm
They
laughing.
did them so dirty.
Because the way they were gassing, coming with all their camo gear, yeah, helicopters, and we were all like,
yeah, and then that girl came in and was like, "Oh yeah, we're fighting these different kind of we're fighting these different kind of thingies, yeah, and you know are fighting these. The power level is different."
innit? I'm like, you're talking about power level. You, nah, you know what? I agree with you guys. I'm gonna give it a 7 as well. Look, end of the day, yeah, like Jujutsu Kaisen it's been good. It's still kept up the momentum, but I do think that we did deserve to see something, something because I think they've put a lot of emphasis on the military from around the world, like all the different armies. They've spent a lot of time, like chapters where they didn't even have the main characters in it, or just Kenjaku was doing like talks with the governments just to bring them in. I think just to like bring them in and like you say, like one chapter we're like, yeah, next chapter done. Nah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's mad.
That's madness, bro. But no, it was still a good chapter, and I feel like there was a lot of good revelations in the chapter. A lot of heartfelt moments as well, especially at the ending when he talked about the girl from their previous school friend. I thought there was a lot of good stuff, and yeah, it's interesting to see how it all goes because I feel like even though with a lot's happened with like Kenjaku, everyone, we still don't know much. And I feel like the thing about Jujutsu Kaisen that I really love here is that it can do a 180 at any time. You know what I mean? Like this was a massive 180. We thought we are gonna get some big battle, or not even a big battle, just something which we could still get. But it was just done, and it was done so dirty as well, bro. Not you know what I mean? Like people got 50 man got ganked by these cursed spirits like
with the
that, bro.
swiftness.
And these aren't even like special grade. They're just not even just normal cursed spirits, bro. So, but I think but yeah, let's hope next week we get a bit more action. Just some fight scenes, man. We need some fighting, man, because there's been a lot of. I know we had that big triple wave battle that was amazing, but let's have some more. Thanks, guys, for listening to our weekly podcast. Join us next week. We'll see, is Tengen alive? Is he dead? Who knows, man? The date with Asa and Denji, how's that going to go down the Control Devil? Is she going to do madness, or is it just going to be a casual date?
Netflix and chill.
Netflix and chill. You know what I mean? But like,
subscribe. Netflix and kill.
Oh,
yeah, that's a good one.
See you guys next week.